We're in the gate. Rehearsal moving around. And they're off. Clean start. Infinity Dream and Wildfire Princess, the first two out of the gate. Rehearsal is third down at the rail. And Garden Party is at the back and tugging just a touch. Where Infinity Dream has an easy lead through the opening furlong, just cruising, with Wildfire Princess in second. Rehearsal and Garden Party. Around that first turn, Infinity Dream leads the way, just about a length over Wildfire Princess. The heavy favorite Rehearsal is down at the rail in third, 2 lengths off the pacemaker, and Garden Party just outside of her. There's been no change since the gate opened. It's Infinity Dream leading it by a length. Wildfire Princess, very, very keen, wants to go by this front runner. Then comes Rehearsal down at the rail and Garden Party. They have less than a half mile to go. Infinity Dreams lead ahead. Umberto Rispoli has a tight hold of Wildfire Princess. A length and a half to Rehearsal and Garden Party. Rounding the far turn, Infinity Dream and Wildfire Princess. Garden Party tries to make a bid, goes 3 wide. And just behind them, Rehearsal. Still has plenty of run, has to pick a spot, angling out now for the drive wisely. They're at the top of the lane, 3 across the course. Garden Party on the outside. Here comes Rehearsal now, lengthening that stride. And down at the rail, Wildfire Princess coming to the 16th pole. It's Garden Party holding the lead and in control. Garden Party and Mirko De Muro winning the opener. Rehearsal a rallying second. Wildfire Princess third, then Infinity Dream. Goes in. We're in the gate. One restless inside. And they're off. Stubborn had an awkward beginning. Daddy Gave It to Me and Della Terra. Della Terra now vying for the lead. On the outside of them, here's West Fresno. So it's West Fresno and Della Terra duking it out to the half-mile pole. Daddy Gave It to Me third. Jenny's Wine Girl a close-up fourth. And Stubborn at the back, moving up on the inside. They move into the far turn with Della Terra narrowly in front now. Pressed by West Fresno. Jenny's Wine Girl 3 wide, making a bid for the lead now. Coming after the top pair within a neck of those two. It's another 2 lengths back. Daddy Gave It to Me and Stubborn. They're a quarter of a mile from home. West Fresno in between horses. Down at the rail, Della Terra and Jenny's Wine Girl in third. Daddy Gave It to Me swings out 4 wide for the drive with a clear shot as Della Terra opens up nearly a length. Jenny's Wine Girl and Daddy Gave It to Me keep on coming. It's Della Terra, short lead coming for the wire. Della Terra holding on, and Della Terra gets there at a short price. Jenny's Wine Girl held off Daddy Gave It to Me to complete the exacta.
The warm-up today. Good luck for the pick 6.
Straker to the outside. And they're off. Toulouse de Trac is going out for the early lead. Straker battling along. Samael is just behind them in third. They're followed by Elton Sings Another, joined by Big Soiree, and 3 more to Manaye. The favorite is last and guided to the outside, presumably to avoid kickback. Into the far turn, Toulouse de Trac narrowly. Straker continues to press to the 3/8 pole. They've sped 4 lengths clear of Samael in third. Another 4, Elton Sings Another. Manaye is now getting underway while moving toward the inside, and Big Soiree at the back. They're strung out for a small group. A quarter of a mile to go, and Samael trying to take advantage of this dream trip, coming with a 3 wide sweeping move after the leader, Toulouse de Trac, who has a length and a half lead. On the outside, Samael closing with every stride. Manaye coming alive as Straker drops out of it. 16th pole, Toulouse de Trac tenacious. Samael up alongside. These two head and head for the wire. San Miguel takes the lead close to home, and it will be San Miguel to win it by a length under Cesar Ortega. Second to Toulouse de Track. Manaye was up for third. Photo fourth between Elton Sings another and Big Soiree. Channel 1 is the official vodka partner of Santa Anita Park. Try the thrilling Santa Anita Mule. They're in the gate. And they're off. Typhoon Tommy and Malibu Rocks going for the lead. Mischief Moments outside of them. Gentlemen's Club on the outside. Uncle Evco forced to go 4 wide into the first turn. Commander Cruiser is at the back of the field. So it is Typhoon Tommy to show the way to the 6 furlong pole. Prompted by Malibu Rocks, just about a length back second. Then Gentlemen's Club, Mischief Moments, stride for stride, with Uncle Evco in the blue, 4 lengths off the lead and 3 clear of Commander Cruiser. Onto the back stretch, and it's Typhoon Tommy, left alone on the front end, with Malibu Rocks in second. Another 2, Gentlemen's Club is on the inside, putting his head into third, and Mischief Moments outside of him. Uncle Evco remains in fifth on the outside, and 4 more to Commander Cruiser. Into the far turn, Typhoon Tommy gets a nudge to go on. Malibu Rocks has been second the whole way. At the rail, Gentlemen's Club. Mischief Moments, hard-ridden, but does get into third as a result. 2 clear of Uncle Evco. Coming toward the quarter pole, Malibu Rocks is the new leader, getting his head in front. Gentlemen's Club moving up in between horses. Uncle Evco, Blue Silks, widest of all. Typhoon Tommy under pressure at the rail. 3/16 to go. Malibu Rocks a length and a half in front. Uncle Evco is starting to lengthen that stride in the center of the track and becoming a threat with Gentlemen's Club in third. Malibu Rocks 2-length lead. Uncle Evco coming after him. Malibu Rocks, Uncle Evco, Malibu Rocks held on by a long neck over Uncle Evco, Gentlemen's Club, and Mischief Moments. As the closest casino and resort to Santa Anita Park, you're sure to experience world-class gaming, dining, and entertainment. Coming soon to Yamava, Dory Miller. We're in the gate. And they're off. Going Lucky springs out on top, immediately headed by Miyako. Miyako wants to lead and gets it. Alaramo third, already 4 lengths off the pace. They're followed by Miss Mar, who's down at the rail. OK Rose between, Dory Miller outside of them. Giggle Giggle has to go outside of that group, and the trailer is Crossana. Around the first turn, and Edwin Maldonado has Miyako loose. Opens up over 5 lengths now as they swing onto the back stretch. Going Lucky, patiently handled in second. Another 3 back to Miss Mar in third, followed by Alaramo angling outside of her. 3 back to OK Rose, Dory Miller, Giggle Giggle, and Crossana. They're heading to the half-mile pole, and it is Miyako still loose. Miyako clear by 8 lengths. The gray Going Lucky still by herself, 2.5 clear of Miss Mar in third. Then Alaramo, followed by OK Rose. Then Dory Miller, the 2 trailers, Giggle Giggle. Crossana has been at the back throughout. They're approaching the quarter pole, and Miyako has a 3-length lead on Going Lucky, trying to bridge the gap. Miss Mar angling out for the drive. OK Rose saves ground on the fence there at the top of the stretch. Miyako Going Lucky right to her now, and Going Lucky has momentum, puts her head in front. Miss Mar is 3 back third, then OK Rose. Late runs from Crossana and Dory Miller. Going Lucky in complete control, and it will be Going Lucky to win it by 3. OK Rose was second. Third went to Miss Mar. Photo for fourth involved Miyako. And they're off. And Pilot Commander is very fast. Sprints clear by a couple lengths. The other four line up in behind him as they get to the main track. And now Midnight Mammoth gets to his outside in second. They are followed by Bellotti. Winterfell is down at the rail, and Bullard went by him at the orange cap on the outside. Very compact, 3 lengths front to back. And it is the odds-on favorite Pilot Commander with 4.5 furlongs to go, striding clear a length and a half. Armando Ayuso asking Midnight Mammoth to get a little bit closer in second. Then it's Winterfell and Bellotti. A length back, Bullard fifth. Now 4 off the lead into the far turn, where Hector Berrios has Pilot Commander in charge, doing it well. Midnight Mammoth aggressively ridden in second. Down at the rail, Winterfell is the gray, has 2.5 lengths to make up. The other gray, Bellotti, shades him. 2 clear of Bullard. They're at the top of the stretch. And Pilot Commander is asked to finish the job now. Has a 2-length lead with 1 furlong to go. Midnight Mammoth trying his best. Down at the rail, Winterfell and Bellotti, a 16th to go for Pilot Commander. Midnight Mammoth not giving up. Grinding away on the outside and is going to get close. Pilot Commander, Midnight Mammoth. Midnight Mammoth got him in the shadow of the wire. Pilot Commander second, Winterfell was third. They're in the gate. And they're off. Even start, Atomic Drop, tougher than the rest, Habeas Extreme outside. In behind them comes Raging Waters racing in fourth. The Big Cheezola is tugging nicely along the inside fifth. The 2 trailers, Manchild and Gypsy Tears, 6 lengths covers the group. It's tougher than the rest, and Atomic Drop head and head to the half-mile pole. Another 2, the Big Cheezola between horses, Manchild at the rail, Habeas just outside of them. They're followed by Raging Waters, and outside of him comes Gypsy Tears. 3/8 of a mile to go. Atomic Drop been tougher than the rest. These two have been inseparable, but now Atomic Drop gets the upper hand and suddenly puts a length on that rival. Then Manchild in third, followed by the Big Cheezola at the rail, Raging Waters, and Gypsy Tears is starting to roll on the outside. They come to the 8th pole. It's Atomic Drop in the center of the racetrack with a 2-length lead. Manchild is making up some ground, as is Raging Waters now finding his best ride. Gypsy Tears on the outside. Atomic Drop is in front by a length. Raging Waters taking a late crack at him. Here's the line. Photo finish. Very, very close between Atomic Drop and a flying Raging Waters. Manchild was third, then Gypsy Tears. Wagering is offered. Don't forget, tomorrow and Sunday, hit the trifecta with our Burgers and Brews event. Enjoy delicious burgers, cold craft brews, and world Carson to the outside. And they're off. Simplexity broke out alertly, headed now by Run for Kidder. And here's Code Duello coming through along the inside. Crosby Beach is vying for the lead as well, but Code Duello is naturally quicker than all. And so the favorite will set the pace, opening up a length and a half. Crosby Beach in second. Then Run for Kidder third. Harson is fourth, coming to the half-mile pole. Binging is racing toward the back of the field, currently behind Simplexity and Commander. And at the back is Minister Shane. They move into the far turn, chasing Code Duello. Crosby Beach aggressively ridden, trying to get closer in second. Please Focus is trying to get involved, as is Harson. Another 3 lengths back to Run for Kidder, who's on the inside of Simplexity. Simplexity angling to the far outside. Commander is inside of him. Code Duello, 2-length lead with 1 furlong left. Harson trying to bridge the gap in second. Simplexity picking it up outside Crosby Beach and Commander late run. Minister Shane. Code Duello much the best, handridden to a 3.5 length win. Harson held second. Minister Shane closed stoutly for third, then Commander and Simplexity.
It is a very festive mood here at the Great Race Place today. You want to know why? First of all, it's Cal Cup Day. Entire 9-race card for Calbreds, including 5 stake races. We've also got a pick 6 carryover, $79,000. Nobody's been able to solve that riddle the last 2 days. Also an $18,000 carryover in the Sunset 6. That links the last 3 races at Gulfstream Park with the last 3 races here at San Diego. Nobody's been able to solve that riddle the last 2 days. And our guest today, he's a Calbred, Frank Mirahmadi, the track announcer. Frankie, happy Cal Cup Day. Welcome to the seminar.
Happy Cal Cup Day to you. It pays to be Calbred, and this is the day we celebrate. And so you're going to get maybe a lot of the barn's best Calbred maidens. These are the days you want to show off, and I always enjoy these days, regardless of what state we're in. But over here, particularly in California, it's extra special. I do a lot of work for the CTBA, and I've been hosting their awards already for 15 years.
Annual awards banquet.
It's tough to come with new material every year. And you know, when I first started, I was working on the fairs in Northern California. And as I got over here, obviously you got to tone down some of the humor a little bit and be a little more proper than some of the earlier renditions. But a lot of my friends are running horses today, so may the best horse win.
Frank, I'm going to ask you the question that Millie Ball asked me yesterday during our Pick 6 seminar. She asked me who is my favorite Calbred all time. Before you answer, let me rattle off the leading Calbred money earners all time. Tiz Now, Best Pal, Lava Man, Snow Chief, Bertrando, Freehouse, General Challenge, Bud Royale. I mean, those are superstar type of horses that were bred right here in the Golden State. Who's your favorite?
It's Best Pal. Best Pal is a horse that I've always loved. Actually, our colleague Jeff Chapman and Seminar Skip had me on their radio show today, and they popped that question, so I was ready for you today. But I would have always answered Best Pal. That's the first instinct I always have. Best Pal was a horse that I was very fond of as a 2-year-old. I remember at the time I was working for a computer software company based out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I remember that I was running up my phone bill, calling my friends to listen to the TV show from Santa Anita and from Del Mar, the replay show that was on Channel 56 back in the day.
KDOC.
Correct. And hosted by Trevor Denman. And in fact, I was talking to Amy Zimmerman yesterday, and I was telling her that, you know, that show was an educational show. And it's very difficult to be able to teach anyone anything in short sound bites in between races. But Trevor was able to do that. And it really took my level of being a fan to an entirely new level shortly after he took over announcing. And he did the TV shows because his insights were so great. But talking about Best Pal, he was such a good horse. And he was just so talented as a youngster. And he was trained at the beginning.
Changed barns a few times, yeah.
Pardon me?
Changed barns a few times.
He started with Ian Jory. So I always like to give credit to those who had the horse first because he developed him as a 2-year-old. Never met Ian Jory, so it's not like I'm trying to take care of my buddy or anything. But, you know, he then went on and went into other barns that were great barns. And when he won as a 2-year-old, there was a phantom long inquiry at Del Mar when he won the Del Mar Juvenile at the end of the meet. And formal dinner trained by the great D. Wayne Lucas was in front of him, and he went, there was a race earlier that meet at Del Mar, and fans who have been around a long time as we age ourselves will remember that.
How do you remember all this, you know,
well, I remember,
for lack of a better word?
I'll tell you the truth, and this is factual. I remember races from the 80s.
Like it was yesterday.
Way better than I remember here. It's stunning. I remember one time asking Trevor about a call. I think I may have told you the story before about Sir Beaufort, one of my favorite horses. He had behavioral issues at the gate, and I love horses that overcome that. Lead to Justice, Sir Beaufort, etc. And he didn't remember exactly what he had said when he broke his maiden. And I was thinking, like, how could this guy forget what a great horse? And then I thought to myself, I look at races today.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't remember anything about this. Now, as soon as I turn on a replay, I'll typically remember everything that happened, but it's stunning. But the memory from those days are just so crystal clear. But anyway, earlier that meet, there was a big controversial disqualification. Tight Spot was in a race on the turf. It might have been the Del Mar Derby, one of those races. And so then the inquiry went up for the Del Mar Futurity, and I was watching. I'm like, this has got to be an absolute joke. But it was going on a long time. So I had already taught all my friends in those days, you listen for the first letter out of Trevor's mouth, which is the ladies and gentlemen. If it's a dramatic L, you're done. If it's a soft L, you're good. And Best Pal survived that complete nonsense and won that. And then he went on. And one of my all-time favorite calls in my Trevor Denman history is Trevor's call of the Big Cap when Best Pal won. He said, you know, Best Pal in a formality, what a superstar he's turned out to be. And he romped. And that was a great race. He went by Twilight Agenda like he was standing still. So Best Pal will always be my favorite. Tiz Now a horse I got to call in my first grade 1 ever, which was the Louisiana Downs Super Derby. And he was a beast. And when I saw him, I remember I loved Commendable going into that race, the Belmont winner. And then they came on the track and like Tiz Now was twice his size. I'm like, look at this guy. And it was weird because as a California guy, you tend to be biased toward the California horse. But going into that race, I'm like, how could Commendable possibly lose? And then when Tisnow came on the track, and then he destroyed him. And then I went to that Breeders' Cup Classic and was able to watch him. And I was past the finish line. So you couldn't actually see. It was a photo. He was in a head-to-head battle. But I remember Chris McCarron waving his, the pink sleeves of Chris McCarron when Tisnow won. And I lost my voice. And I went back to work at Louisiana Down, sounded like a frog calling the races. But it was a great moment and one that I'll always cherish.
Were you in Louisiana when Best Pal won the inaugural Pacific Classic at Del Mar, or were you in attendance?
No, I was not in attendance. That was 1993. I'm not sure where I was that day. But I was not at Del Mar, but I was very happy when he ended up winning. I didn't pick him that day, believe it or not, as much as I love Best Pal. I don't remember who I picked that day.
He was a 3-year-old running against Old.
Yeah, he was in a tough spot, and I was very proud of him because I loved the horse. I certainly loved him as a 2-year-old, but I'm not going to pretend I was on his bandwagon that day. I must have eaten some chalk elsewhere in that particular race. I didn't have the first 2 finishers in that race. I remember that for sure.
Frank, you and I go back probably 25 years. I was thinking about this earlier today. It was the early 2000s. Yeah, it was the early 2000s. We were both at Churchill Downs. I was representing Horse Player Magazine. We met at the Media Hotel, the Galt House in the lobby.
We did.
Kent DeSormo, of all people, introduced us, if you remember that. You got off the elevator with Kent, and I don't know if you knew who I was. I certainly knew who you were, but...
I knew your magazine, but I didn't know you individually.
Of course, but we've actually had a great friendship, and I'm happy to call you a friend. And
me too.
I would have never imagined in 25 years, or however long it's been, that you and I would be sitting here at Santa Anita, representing Santa Anita, and taking great pride in what we do, and there's no way we could have predicted it at that point in time.
No, that was the Bud Long shot, in fact, at that point, especially the exacta box of us two sitting here. But you know what? We both give our heart and soul to this, and you got to go through your conditions, right? So it's been a long road for both of us. And, when we're here, and I think it's important, every day I pull in here, I've told you this every time we get together, I just think about, I love our commercial that talks about the timeless tradition of what Santa Anita represents. And that is what it is. And so, I'm not one of these guys that says they shouldn't pay us for what we do. I think they should always pay everyone more than we ever get, no matter what we get, always, because we're working hard. So I don't subscribe to that whole thing. I can't believe I get paid to train horses or work here. But I do believe that this is definitely a privilege and not just a job. And it's something that, in our roles particularly, we have to come here and whatever's going on in the world
with our A game
completely every day, because we're the hype machines. So we got to get everyone excited. And a day like today, we need no boost in order to do that.
But as Billie Jean King once famously said, pressure is a privilege, right? And so it's certainly a privilege of ours to have that pressure put on us. You certainly more than me, because you're expected to step up to the mic and, as you often like to say, celebrate winners.
I say this to people when it's hard because you have to memorize, you have to be right, every word counts. The other day I called a filly he down the backstretch. I don't forgive myself for these kind of idiotic mistakes. I'm very harsh on other people for making that mistake. And I remember I said something like, he wants to lead, and like after the finish line I said, oh my God, that's a filly. So
but it's live TV.
I know, but the truth is, it's a reminder that you always 100%. Must be completely prepared and to do, and I'm sure most 99% of the people listening didn't know that, but you know what? You got to call yourself accountable, because we are expected at this track to be the best at what we're doing. And so you can't be sloppy. You take a shortcut, you don't memorize the field, you don't realize who's who and what's what, you're going to get burned. Might not happen every time, but as Tom Durkin told me right before I took the Hialeah job in 1996, I visited him at Gulfstream, and then I knew I was in trouble listening to that guy, because it was very surreal watching him prepare for a race with every little nook and cranny detail, and then the race unfolded exactly as he predicted, with the favorite getting burnt up in a speed duel. And I just, he had his computer and laptop. But what he did say this is, with regard to memorization, he had shown me the color coding of the program and such. But he said, you still have to learn the horses, because if you're looking here, you're not looking there. And that's the truth. So if you don't prepare in anything you do, eventually you're going to get nailed.
We know that Frank Mirahmadi is prepared. He's going to tell us who he likes on today's 9-race Cal Cup card. Before we do any of that, Frank's going to give us the early changes. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and when we come back, we'll find out who Frank likes. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cal Cup Day at Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The track is fast, the turf course is firm, the rail on the turf is out 10 feet, and we do have two carryovers. We have a carryover in our pick six today of $18,000 plus. Excuse me, that's the Sunset Six, and that carryover is $18,000 plus. That's a $1 wager combining the last three races from Gulfstream and the last three from Santa Anita Park. And our two-day carryover here at Santa Anita today is more than $78,000 in the traditional $2 pick six, which will be on races 4 through 9. Both pools should grow substantially, exponentially, in fact, this afternoon. So best of luck in those two pick six carryovers. Here are the early changes on today's program. In the first race, it's the start of the 50-cent early pick 5. Scratch number 8, Balaza, and scratch number 12, Training Good. Scratch 8 and 12. Keep in mind that Gulfstream's pick 6, which is the Sunset 6 beginning, starts with their 9th race. So 9, 10, and 11 at Gulfstream, 7, 8, and 9 here at Santa Anita for the Sunset 6. A reminder, Gulfstream's 9th kicks off that bet. Race 2 is the Don Valprado Cal Cup Sprint. No show wagering with the important scratch of number 3, Big City Lights. In the third, scratch number 12, Krista McAuliffe. Race 3, take out the 12. The fourth is the start of that $2 pick 6. $78,000 plus in the carryover. Scratch number 2, Real Lucky in Love. Scratch number 7, California Cat, 2 and 7 out of the fourth. In the fifth, the Unusual Heat Turf Classic presented by City National Bank. Number 1, Hey Jesse, will carry 1 pound over. 5, Stop Digging, 2 pounds over. Turning to race 6, the late pick 4 begins with the 6th race. No changes. The 7th is the Leanne Howard Cal Cup Oaks. And in the 7th race, we have a blinker note for number 1. The 8th is the California Chrome Cal Cup Derby. Scratch number 6, Ocean Bear. And scratch number 8, Can't Help Myself. The late pick 3 starts with the 7th. The $5 late double begins with race 8. And we close out this outstanding program with the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint presented by John Deere. Scratch number 5, Sneaker. Those are the changes on today's program. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Post time for the first is in 56 minutes at 12:30. Back to Quigley's Corner we go as we resume today's seminar.
Welcome back. We're talking horse with Santa Anita track announcer Frank Mirahmadi. It's our pleasure to have him here on a very busy day. Before we get your selections on today's card, Frank, a quick graphic here to show, which is for the $500 live money tournament that's today, both on track here at Santa Anita as well as at expressbet.com. It's relatively inexpensive to play. As you can see on the graphic, it's a $300 bankroll, $200 entry fee, which is returned in prize money to all the players. And the players not only keep what they win through their handicapping and wagering, but also they can win NHC seats and Pegasus World Cup seats Athletes, keep in mind Pegasus World Cup next Saturday at our sister track, Gulfstream Park. All right, Frank, a lot of ground to cover in this 9-race card. Kicking things off in race number 1, which begins the 50-cent early pick 5. Race 1 also is a split of race 3. We're traveling 6 furlongs in the turf course for maiden special weight Calbred 3-year-old fillies. The turf rails today are at 10 feet. Scratch the 8 and the 12 as you just described. Leaves us with a field of 10. The current betting choice at 2-1 is number 5, Cash In Tonight from the Doug O'Neill barn. Give us your thoughts on race 1.
Well, I want to preface this by saying I have not looked at any workout reports. I usually don't, and I have much respect for Andy Harrington, Toby Terrell, and all the people that do the workout reports out there. There are several of them, so no disrespect to them. I'm just not a subscriber, and no one sends them to me either. So therefore, if there are workouts, you're on your own, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to go by pedigrees here on my picks, and let's see if there's any. I don't like the fact that there's absolutely no money whatsoever on my top pick in here. Maggles McGee, number 3 by McLean's Music, who was by the late great Distorted Humor. May he rest in peace. One of my all-time favorites as well. But McLean's Music only ran that one tremendous maiden race here. He's very fast, but here's the thing. Getting a Calbred by McLean's Music, who stands in Kentucky, is a good opportunity. The Dam, a Ghost Zapper mare, ran 9 times, 5 in the money performances on the grass, 9 on the grass, I should say, 10 lifetime, and won 2 of those races. So you get a barn that's been doing well in Papa Padromo. You get a rider in Ricky Gonzalez, who's usually, he's not afraid to ask a horse right out of the gate. So I picked that horse on top. But in maiden races, you like to see a little action. I'm definitely petrified at what I see early at 11-1. The second pick in here might be the liver of the 2, and that's 11, Marla Hooch. I think Nick Alexander could have a very big day today. This daughter of Ohm is out of a mare named Sadie Claire, so you get a little grazing on the bottom, which you should always get when you get some Nick Alexander in your life. And others have claimed some of his horses and done well with them too, but I know he's very proud of grazing, as he should be. And this horse is related to a horse named Dick Best, who did win 9 of 39 starts. I think he's still active. He won not long ago, earned almost $200,000. Sadie Bluegrass, another nice horse that has earned some good money, and Big Claire, all of those in the, between 150 and 200,000 in earnings, and have been proficient on the grass. So I think the breeding is there. Ohm was a monster. He could go long. He could win down the hill. He was a very, very nice horse. And so the fact that Nick Alexander went to Ohm here on this nice mare who has produced some horses that can run on the grass makes her very interesting.
One additional note on Frank's top selection, number 7, Maggles McGee, the breeder Glen Hill Farm. As soon as you see that, it pretty much screams turf, which is where Maggles McGee is debuting today. Race number 2 is the first of 5 stake races. It also begins the 50-cent early pick 4. It's the Don Belprado California Cup Sprint, $125,000 guaranteed, sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track. Key scratch of number 3, Big City Lights. Mana Rose at 9-5 on the morning line, likely to go lower. Free bingo square here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Mana Rose is a really, really fun horse. Won 10 of 17. A record that is just tremendous. Can do anything. I love horses that are so versatile. Sprint, route, turf, dirt. But this Speedy Wilson, man, he really caught my eye at Del Mar last year. And I've been following this horse very closely. First of all, you will notice that this son of Tough Sunday makes a very nice appearance on the track. He's a handsome horse, and he's a stone-cold runner. He did run in the Malibu last time out. I thought he ran well. I remember giving him a little compliment at the top of the stretch because he was running against some nice horses in the top 2 who beat him. Goal-oriented and Midland Money, trained by Bob Baffert. Very talented individuals. Speedy Wilson represented himself well. Look, Mana Rose has a cozy outside draw. He's perfect at this track, but he's going to be like 2-5. So I want to say now, I tried to pick horses, particularly in the pick 6, that were not your obvious horses. We'll touch on the horses I think you need to use, but I'm trying to maybe find a couple of nuggets out there. So I'm not trying to light up the board with number of winners today, but hopefully some live horses that will either pull an upset or be a part of exotics to some short price favorites. In this race, I went 4-5, realizing that Mana Rose is strictly the one to beat, but he'll be very, very short.
Speaking about pedigree and breeding, number 4, Speedy Wilson, I have to love Sick Blues. You'll remember from the Lee Baracci barn, ran in the Breeders' Cup Sprint this past year at Del Mar. Race number 3, as previously mentioned, split at race number 1. That means we're traveling 6 furlongs in the turf course, maiden special weight Calbred, 3-year-old fillies. Scratch the also eligible, still leaves us with a good field of 11. Number 11, Stars Hollow, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. 11 ways you can go here, Frankie. Which way you going and why?
I went to the 7, Troisième Etoile. This is a horse that's related to 2 turf winners for these connections. Daughter of I'll Have Another out of a Square Eddie mare. This is all Redham breeding. The Dam was 2 for 11 on the grass with a couple of other in-the-money performances. And then those other 2 had shown proficiency. There are bullets in the holster of 58-2. You don't need a workout report to see that was pretty quick, but a nice gate move at the end. And so I think this horse screams live. And again, it's the old thing about handicapping the trainer, handicapping the connections, unleashing from a barn that has been doing extremely well, but, you know, a guy who belongs in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, Doug O'Neill, and hopefully we'll get there one day. This barn has been clicking very, very nicely this meet. And more importantly, they're pointing to, you know, take care of their big owner on a day like today. So I would imagine that is why they waited for her. The 11 is a legitimate favorite and is going to be very tough to deny based on a solid second place effort where she showed speed. Now she gets a Lasix for her second start and certainly has every right to come over here and win as the favorite in this race.
You made a good point, Frank. I'm sorry for interrupting, but, you know, it's a big day for the breeders because you take a look at the sires in race number 3, and we see this throughout the entire card. But, you know, Clubhouse Ride, Ohm, Stamford, these are horses that stand in California, and of course their connections want to have a big day. This is their day to shine, almost like a Breeders' Cup day, except limited to California.
Very much so. These days are huge for the breeders. Like a horse like the 3 who's 20-1 run on Ohm. This is out of a family that has nothing but fast runners. But the thing is, they're not turf horses. The horses that have come out of that mare, Scary Fast, are dirt horses. But there's the Ohm influence as the sire, Ohm by Munnings, and Ohm himself was very talented. So, like, if you're looking for a crazy price, you know, this horse will be in front early. And there are other, you know, long price horses throughout the day that rate a look just based upon, you know, the connections and the pedigrees.
Race number 4 is when the fireworks begin. That's because it's the kickoff of the $2 pick 6 with a 2-day double carryover of $79,000 in the kitty already. There are 2 scratches in race number 4. Take out both 2 and 7. That leaves us with a field of 8. The morning line favorite on the rail, number 1, Remember April from the Tim Yock Teen Barn, 5-2 on the morning line. This race is a tough one as well.
Yeah, I don't like the favorite in here, with all due respect.
Vulnerable favorite, as we like to say on the pick 6 segment.
I can't live with Remember April in here, but I do like. I'm taking a guess because Isidro Tamayo and Carol Anderson have 2 horses, and this is a complete guess. I don't know. This is where you need some steam. If you know Isidro, you must ask which one is better, the 6 or the 10. But I went to the 10, Love Lock, because she's out of a mare that ran 29 times, was in the money, nearly half of them, with 4 victories, earned $80,000, and Edwin Maldonado will be on his belly right out of the gate trying to get some speed out of her, whereas the other horse for Isidro is out of an unraced mare. So I'm just going to go with a horse that, you know, same stallion, but on the bottom side, at least we have a little bit of history from Love Lock's mommy. And the horse I think deserves to be favored and probably will be favored is the 3, Om Time Gal for Mike Pipey. This horse is a must-use in here, and I think rates a very, very long look. She is back where she belongs. They took a couple of shots. I like what they did. Ran her for 20. She did well. Take a shot because she's got some turf pedigree. No good. Go back to a maiden 50 to see how good that maiden 20 was. Not good enough. Back today, and I think she is the deserving favorite in here and your most likely winner. I went 10-3 taking a shot, but if you use one Isidro, you got to use the other, which makes your investment twice as expensive if you like either one of those. And look, those are complete guesses as to what their ability is. Race number 5 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 wager as well as the $3 all turf pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. And we kick off both wagers in race number 5, going a mile and an eighth on the turf course. It's the Unusual Heat Turf Classic presented by City National Bank, $175,000 guaranteed. There are 2 fillies or mares in this race. Number 1, Hey Jesse, is a filly running against the boys. Number 5, Stop Digging, is a mare running against the boys. And the morning line favorite on the bottom, the very talented number 8, Vodka Vodka, at 9-5 on the morning line. What say you about race 5? I tried everything I could to find an alternative to the favorite Vodka Vodka, but I do believe Vodka Vodka stands out on paper. My only concern is coming out of that race, which was one of the most exciting races I've had the privilege of calling, where it was Nisos in Nevada Beach and the Lafitte Pink-Eye Jr. This horse, I mean, I call it sometimes the Buster Douglas angle. You know, once he knocked out Mike Tyson, Mike was never the same. Let's just be honest about stats don't lie. And
suddenly the horse realizes he's not King Kong.
But you know what? I remember the pre-race interview from Aggie Ordonez. The horse was training lights out, and you got to take a shot. You got to find out where you belong. And he was admirable in defeat. I mean, he didn't completely chuck it in when those horses went by him. But still, you know, a little shell shock from seeing those horses is the only thing I worry about with Vodka Vodka. And I'll tell you what, we were together at Del Mar when Vodka Vodka jogged at Del Mar. That was Breeders' Cup weekend.
Sure was.
And
what a price, 12-1.
I didn't like him at all, and he aired. And when you look back, he made sense. Of course, post-race analysis is just so solid, isn't it? But anyway, I don't want to say he's a cinch, but if he returns to what we saw those previous starts before that drubbing in the pink eye, he's the horse to beat. The one Hey Jesse is a very interesting alternative because she does have good staying power. And she fits very, very well in here, coming out of graded stake. And in the past, she has won. She won the Soviet Problem over at Los Alamitos back in 2024. I think she could rate an upset look in here. But Vaca Vaca deserves favoritism. It's just, believe me, I looked over and over and over again trying to find a legitimate reason to not put him on top, and I just couldn't justify not putting him on top today. So he's definitely the horse to beat. And these connections have just been so fun to watch in their interviews with everything, Almond Joy and these other horses. They've been really enjoying the ride, and maybe they get their picture taken on a big day today.
Race number 6 starts the 50-cent late pick forward, turning 6 furlongs on the turf course. It's an allowance optional claiming race, of course, for Calbreds. Non-winners of one other than number 1, Unbridled Vision, is a first-time gelding, the morning line favorite. Number 6, Titanic Thompson from the Steve Mirahmadi barn, going turf to dirt, 8-5 on the morning line. Talk to us about race 6, Frank.
Well, Titanic Thompson has great form. I just think he's better on the turf, and therefore I can't justify taking him at what might be closer to 6-5 or even money. Like if he I remember, I was reading some Brad Free, and he was talking about the fact that this horse is good on dirt too, and he is, but I can't take that price. So I predict if there's a race where there could be an upset today, it's the 6th, because I'm not sold on Coach Cronin being a cinch either. He did win convincingly last time, and the real Coach Cronin, as cool as they come, coach of UCLA basketball.
He's in action right now.
Yes, he is. Where are they today? What are they?
They're on the road. They're playing basketball. He's not able to join us. Ohio State.
All right, good. That's a tough matchup over there.
Go Bruins.
Of course. I mean, seriously. Anyhow, I went to the 10, Rich Reward, to take a monster shot on a horse coming off a little bit of a layoff, a little freshening for this race. I love lightly raced horses. This is a maiden taking on winners, but he fired big in his debut. And his other races have not been embarrassing by any stretch of the imagination. The horse who finished in front of him last time did come back to win. And then the other horse I thought as a long shot possibility is Unbridled Vision. Unbridled Vision is a huge 30-1 on the morning line. There are some 30-1s on here today on the program throughout the afternoon that maybe should be 20 or 15, but it's a mathematical formula. Sometimes you have to make horses higher or lower in order to make the things balance out. But first-time gelding, Unbridled Vision is a horse. I think Tim McKenna is a very outstanding horseman. I respect him, and he's had a lot of horses for Jet Horse. And again, in a race where I'm predicting that perhaps the favorites are no cinch, of course, those two will be clear by 10 at the 16th pole. But nevertheless, I went 10-1 looking for price action. And I would say that if you like the favorites in there, maybe consider the 10-1 as possibilities for other exotic wagers.
Frank's second selection, number 1, Unbridled Vision, a lightly raced 5-year-old gelding, son of McLean's Music, who has a few progeny on today's card that Frank has previously discussed. Race number 7 begins the $3 late pick 3, also with a reduced 15% takeout. We're traveling 1 mile on the turf course. It's the Leanne Howard California Cup Oaks for Calbred. 3-year-old fillies, a field of 8. Number 7, Cashed from the Doug O'Neill barn, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Crunchy's a little bit interesting, invading from Gulfstream Park. Calbred are now running against, basically Calbreds. What do you think about race 7, Frank?
In here, I actually like this race a lot. I like the 3, C Drew. C Drew won very nicely in her debut right here at Santa Anita Park, was well back, no secret, and answered the bell with a nice, swift kick to the front, drew off with authority, and then went into graded stakes open company in her next start and ended up, being defeated. But I just think that, I always give horses a chance after they break their maiden when they face winners for the first time. I think she's very well spotted in here and is going to have a huge impact on this race. The other horse I like in here is the 6, Cecilia Street. I do not believe this horse will go off at 6-1. This horse should get bet, deserves to get bet. She's a 2-time winner, facing mostly 1-time winners in this field. There's only one other 2-time winner in here. She's proven on the course. She's proven at the distance, and I think she's going to get bet. You're not getting 6-1 on Cecilia Street today. I like 3-6, and the reason I don't put Cashed in the top 2, she was huge when she ran second in the Grade 2 Starlet, and she was good when she ran second to the ultra-impressive Mohaven on that day before the Breeders' Cup that you and I enjoyed down at Del Mar. But she's not run on the grass. So you're going to take a short price on a horse who's coming to the grass for the first time? I know I wouldn't.
And we talked about making mistakes on live TV. I want to apologize. I was thinking of number 1, My Boy Stan, in race number 8, which we'll talk about when I was referring to Crunchy invading from Gulfstream Park. That's what happens when you don't pay attention and look at the actual APA. Always pay attention. So in race 8, we'll segue to that. That's the California Chrome Cal Cup Derby, going a mile and a 16th on the main track for 3-year-olds. Also, race 8 begins the $5 late daily double with a reduced 15% takeout. There are 2 scratches. One is significant. Number 6, Ocean Bear, the original morning line favorite, has been declared out of the race, as has number 8, Can't Help Myself. Take note, number 10 is a first-time gelding, the morning line favorite, going sprint to route for our friends at Legacy Ranch and John Sadler Barn. Sammy Davis, 3-1 on the morning line. There's My Boy Stan invading from Gulfstream Park, who I was referring to in race number 7, unfortunately. Give us your thoughts on race 8, Frank.
Well, first, I got to give a shout out to our colleague, Victor Ryan, who writes our notes and does so
tremendous job.
Really, really talented writer. But when he came with the lead, Sammy Davis in a solo act for this, when the other Legacy was scratching, kudos to you. I like people who
a little creative and
do your work.
Keep
You're a writer.
on their toes.
You're a writer. Keep your reader interested
and entertained.
He does it every day. Good for him. Great
We're
job.
fortunate to have people like him and you with us.
He's, let's talk about him. And certainly, he's an outstanding writer and is doing a great job for us. And
Unsung hero.
Works his tail
Unsung
off.
Hero.
Right behind the scenes.
Correct.
So and working hard in the mornings too. So I love that. When I smiled east to west when I saw that little headline for the race. Now, I think Sammy Davis is training great. We both have deep love for Pete Perella. I mean, I still remember the first time I hosted those CTBA awards when I was doing my Ed Burgard impression. I'd never seen a bigger smile on a guy's face than Pete Perella. He has been behind me in every way, shape, and form my whole career. Great guy. And he's going to be happy I'm not picking him on top because he knows my record.
He knows your past performances.
He knows that when I go to the window cleans me. I don't clean the window. So that's a good sign for him. But Sammy Davis is going long. And so just to make that clear, though, his progeny, the progeny of Ready for Romance, his siblings have done well going long. So it shouldn't be a big problem. And I actually typically am a proponent of speed horses going longer when they have tired in shorter races. So therefore, I'm not taking a shot at him for that because he has the backing, the pedigree, the freshening, etc. And Ocean Bear, who I thought was a complete toss today with one work in a month, he ended up scratching. So Sammy Davis will be tough. That said, I told you I want to try to get some prices out there. So I went with a wild long shot in here, and that is the 11 Cruise Home. And the reason is we talked at the beginning of the seminar about remembering races and so on and so forth. I did not go watch this replay. I remember this replay from October 4th, and this horse came flying. And the reason I remember him is because Dean Pedersen has done such a phenomenal job as a horseman with a limited number of horses. And, most of that work for the Harris Farms over these years. And I certainly hope that some other owners take note that stats don't lie. He's great with firsters. He's great with all kinds of horses, takes care of horses, older horses. I'm a big fan of Dean Pedersen from my many years working on the fairs and seeing him. And it's nice that he's come up on this big stage and is winning at 24%. This horse fired big in his debut, came back and jogged going long as an odds-on favorite. And believe me, I didn't know this horse was running. If I knew he was running at 3 to 5, I would have stood in line and taken the 60% because this horse going a mile after that great effort,
sure,
that to me, again, post-race analysis, I don't even know who was in that race, never saw that race, never watched the replay of that race, but when I saw him airing it out there on paper, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was obvious. Anyhow, I'm picking him on top, and he's a bomb. I do realize that. And I lost so much money on Catalina Cruiser when he was on the rail at Churchill Downs. It still stings many years later. That was a terrible day, but it's okay. He was a good horse.
It happens.
He was a very good horse.
Very nice horse.
But that day on the rail was it was a bath that did not involve Mr. Bubble. Everything blew up in that race. Anyway, John Metcalf, son of Clubhouse Ride. Look, the horse here, the 4 horse, another horse that will be, well, with the scratches of the 6 and 8, obviously all these horses are going to come down. But this moving Saturday, he's going to take action, and he's going to take more action than you might think. He's undefeated. He won 2 races. He won both races going long. He is legitimate. And so I'm not disrespecting him in any way. But the horse who finished second to him, John Metcalf, is going to be a much bigger price. And he's run his heart out twice, and he was 7 to 5 against him the first time they met in that maiden race. There's no reason that Craig Lewis, who survived another inquiry, a lot of inquiries lately, but I firmly agreed with the majority decision for the record there of not touching his horse who won. I mean, like Pat Riley used to have a quote on the Jim Healy show, I see more pushing in the men's room. I mean, seriously, if that horse got DQ'd, you might as well DQ every horse, every race. But anyway, segue aside.
Common sense prevailed.
Common sense did prevail. John Metcalf is a live long shot. But you got to use both favorites here. Sammy Davis is ultra tough on the front end, and Smoothin' Saturday is undefeated. I would go 4 deep in that race with those 4.
We close out a great card for the Cal Cup for the Calbreds in race number 9, coming down the hillside turf course. 6.5 furlongs is the distance. Race 9 also offers $1 super high five wagering. This race is for fillies and mares. It's the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint presented by John Deere. Scratch the 5 sneaker leaves us with a field of 8. Number 3, Grand Slam Smile, who has never finished out of the money in her career, is the 9-5 Moy Line favorite. You talk about cool Calbreds. Grand Slam Smile certainly fits that category.
She really does, and she deserves her role. She should be even money in this race. I believe that that's a fair price for her, and I'm not picking her because I just, she's been beaten. She was beaten by Sneaker. She's just so versatile. You can't knock her. So I want to make it clear this is no knock, but I want to give some live prices throughout the day, and I think this could be a race for Team O'Neill in the finale here with Going Deep. She's won routing on the grass. She has won going 6 furlongs on the grass. This is right in between down the hill. The distance hits are right between the eyes. You got to throw out that race at Zia Park last time out. And her form would make her better than a 10-1 chance to win this race. So I think Going Deep is a live long shot. And then Tina Turner. I remember her second race when she broke her maiden and then she tried the turf. And she came with a nice rally to win. She looked good doing it. And so those are two. But look, if you don't use Grand Slam Smile, you're going to be bracing for impact at the 8th bowl because she is so talented. And you got to give a shout out to Steve Specht, who had her for her, bulk of her career. And Sean McCarthy has continued that greatness with her. She's awesome. And I do adore her as a fan. But, again, do you want even money? Maybe there's a couple prices you could use in the exacta. If the race runs as it should, she's going to win more than half the time against this group. But look, no matter what, she's getting a little older. This other competition is legit. So I took a couple of shots. So it wasn't a chalky seminar, but hopefully I gave you some alternatives or some exotic type things to think about.
No matter what happens, Frank, you're talented and awesome using your words. So thanks so much for joining me. Good luck today. Throw 9 fastballs, of course, as you always do, and celebrate the winners.
Don't leave them over the plate or they're going to get, they're going to get smacked
out of the park.
Great time with you, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Before all of you leave, just a couple of quick reminders. We've got some additional wagers to talk about. Always pay well. You know this, Frank. What about the last 2 days? 2 days ago, the Coast to Coast Pick 5 for $1 paid in excess of like $58,000. Yesterday,
I wish I had it.
Me too. Yesterday it came back, I think it was around $15,000.
It's monstrous.
$1 pick 5, paying those type of payouts. So make sure you get involved. Today, of course, starts with Gulfstream Park. It's $1 minimum, low 15% takeout. We talked about it many times throughout the seminar. The $1 Sunset Pick 6, not only is it in play today, but we've got a 2-day carryover, $18,000 in the kitty. That's also a $1 minimum wager with a low 15% takeout. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a spectacular Cal Cup day here at the Great Race Place. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching, and good luck.
please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cal Cup Day at Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The track is fast, the turf course is firm, and the rail on the turf is out 10 feet. Track conditions are brought to you by John Deere, as is the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint. Thank you, John Deere. Here are the changes. In the first race, scratch number 8, Balazas. Scratch number 12, Training Good. 8 and 12 are out. The early pick 5 starts with race 1. The sunset pick 6 begins with Gulfstream's 9th. There's an $18,000 carryover. Race 2 kicks off the early pick 4. It's the Don Valpredo Cal Cup Sprint. No show wagering. Scratch number 3, Big City Lights. In the third, scratch number 12, Krista McAuliffe. Race 4, scratch 2, Real Lucky in Love. And scratch number 7, California Cat. The fourth starts to pick 6 on races 4 through 9, and there's 78,000 reasons to participate. More than $78,000 in the carryover for the pick 6. Race 5, the Unusual Heat Turf Classic, presented by City National Bank. $175,000 guaranteed. Overweights 1 Hey Jesse, 1 over. 5 Stop Digging, 2 pounds over. Late pick 4 starts with the 6th. No scratches or jockey changes. The 7th, the Leanne Howard Cal Cup Oaks. Just a blinker note for Crunchy. Turning to race 8, the California Chrome Cal Cup Derby. Scratch number 6, Ocean Bear. Scratch 8, Can't Help Myself. 6 and 8 are out. And in the 9th, the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint, presented by John Deere. Scratch number 5, Sneaker. Those are the changes on today's Cal Cup program. Enjoy this extraordinary card at Santa Anita Park. And we also have the Coast to Coast Pick 5, as Tom Quigley noted. Some huge payoffs the last couple of days. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you get the low 15% takeout retail wager. The Coast to Coast Pick 5. It starts today with Gulfstream's 10th and includes 3 races from the Great Race Place. Enjoy your day, ladies and gentlemen. We are 25 minutes away from post time. It's Cal Cup Day at Santa Anita Park.
Bye.